you let me know when you're ready.
How have you been?
So I'm gonna go. So I have to tell this story, and I'm very, oh my God, I rehearse this so much in my mind. So someone that I loved as a person very dearly, and someone I'm very close to, has decided to take her own life, as everyone knows, and I've been speaking to her for the last 3-4 months. We've always been in contact since we were together, since we weren't, and it's always been a loving friendship. And I was so vulnerable with her in my moments when we first met, and I told her everything about me because I felt safe with her. So I told her all the things that I was embarrassed and shameful about. And she made me feel okay. And ultimately, it was embarrassment and shame that killed her. So I'm telling everyone now what my most embarrassing and shameful moments are, because I know she knew I had the strength to do this. And we had spoken about how things had to change. I didn't know it was going to take this. So I'm gonna go straight into it. When I was 22, I was going through severe depression, and I was seeing a psychiatrist, and I had to keep turning up, keep playing as everything, as what my mum has taught me, and I love her for that, because that's how you get over things. It's one part of it. But Saturday night at 9 o'clock, when I was 22, I got a phone call from my agent saying, "The Sun are going to print a story about you trying to buy a gun." I'll tell you the story now of why this was happening. And I have a friend who used to own a nightclub in London, and he has looked after me my whole life. He's always been that guy that's always sent me out the back door. He's looked after me, and that might seem shady, and it might be shady, but at the end of the day, I was a kid that wanted to go out and have fun and party, as well as play, but I didn't even drink alcohol. Anyway, that is beside the point, but she knew everything about me, so this is what I'm about to tell you. And this is not going to be perfect, whatever. So I met a guy who was at this nightclub, who I told you about, my friend's nightclub, and he ended up being in and around whatever, and I knew he was, he was a bad man, or it was in the scene, or was trying to make his way doing whatever he was doing. And I decided at a point it was time for me to take my own life, and I tried to buy a gun from him. And I pulled out of it, and I tried to buy it, and I pulled out of it, and this went on for like 2 months. And I couldn't do it, because I had some fight in me. And so then he sold all the messages to the newspaper, to the Sun, and the Sun knew everything. And they phoned my agent, and they told it what was happening, and my psychiatrist had to get involved and speak and show the minutes, not the actual specifics, but how long I've been seeing him for, which was 9 months. And they weren't legally allowed to print it. But that was the start. That was something that I went through, and I have had to carry that. And she knew everything about me. And the reason why I'm saying this is because embarrassment and shame is not something that should make you do this. It's how we treat people and look after everyone, because everyone has embarrassment and shame to some sort of degree. Whatever it is, we be kind. We try and be gentle. Whatever it is, if someone is doing wrong, you give them a clip around here. Come on, fix on, whatever it is. But we don't need maliciousness. We don't need people going through your bins. We don't need people sitting outside trying to gather information. But at the end of the day, we've created what the media is. Because at the end of the day, if there's a good and bad story, the bad sells more. If the bad sells more, as a business, they're going to keep doing the bad. But until we make a change as human beings, as social media, which we now have the opportunity to do on social media, we can be kind and we can not read that, and we can do things and change perception and image and everything. So what I'm trying to say is, my brain, man. Fuck. So what I'm trying to say is, we can't just blame the media. We can't blame ourselves. It's just what has been created. But we can now change what is happening. We can move forward. Her life will not go in vain. And this is why I have to tell this story. And there's so many more things that have happened. And you know, through my age, I was the happiest youngest kid till I was 20. And I'm sharing my experience because these are the things that I've spoken to her about, which I had hoped had given her some light, but ultimately it wasn't enough. And I'm not saying it was my fault in terms of I hadn't given the information, but I tried, because some people don't have the fight in them, or don't have the fight in them for 20 years. She was dealing with it for 20 years. I had 12 in me, and this is me broken. I'm not doing what she decided to do, because I'm doing this for her. So you need to understand that. Whoever listens and reads this, whatever. I'm trying to say it's okay to be vulnerable. And I'm trying to say that it doesn't matter what people say about you. I have worried my whole life what people say about me. I don't care anymore, because it's their opinion, it's their projection, it's their thing. I know who I am. I've always known who I am, but I've been told who I am from a young age, because yes, I've been in pain. Because when I was young, my dad left me at 10, and my mum worked so hard for me to get a life which I should never have had. But that was how she had to do it. So she couldn't be about, she had to go and work. So I brought myself up. So I didn't have the love and affection I wanted. So I've caused myself pain through, meaningless sex, or painkillers, or drinking alcohol, which I hated. I never did till I was 21. And I'm saying these things out loud so people understand it's okay to be vulnerable. You can take it in any way that you choose, and that is also okay. But be kind. Not to me, I don't need that. I'm strong enough. You don't know what people have done and the people I've met. Like, I've hated the fact my whole life that my dad left me at 10 years old, right? And like, the fact is, I can't, I was young, I'm white, my dad's black. My story was so mixed, it was so all over. But I've always been made to feel like you're not white enough, or you're not black enough in whatever circle. It's always been different. And I've always hated it, but I haven't looked at the love and the opportunity I've had, which I do see now so clearly as to what my purpose is. My dad may have left, but I would never have met Sean Edwards, Brian Ashton, Kevin Lidlow, Steve Black, Laird Hamilton, like Gabby Reese, Margot Wells. I would never met these people who have been, I'm sorry if I've missed any names out, it's not like that, but something bad happened, something great happens. You need to see the meaning and the beauty within whatever, and there is nothing beautiful within what's happened. And the ritual is, I sit at home crying, and the ritual is, I have a lot of guilt, and the ritual of the moment is I have a lot of anger. But if I stay onto that, it will break me. So I have to see the meaning. She decided to call me in her last moments, when she was with her two best friends. How much love and trust did she have for me? Because we had been vulnerable and shared together. She felt it was a safe space. So I thank her for that, because I felt safe with her. But it needs to change. We need to be able to be vulnerable. It doesn't matter what scale it is. It doesn't matter if you tripped over and you feel a bit of shame and people are looking at you, and it's fine. Tell me one person that hasn't tripped over. But yet we want to criminalize or get into people, and I'm not trying to go at the media here. I'm trying to go at every single human being. It's not them and us, it's everybody. It's not just the CPS and us, it's everybody. I understand the CPS wanted to make an example of her. It is not their fault, but it is the society we've created. She did not deserve to be made an example of. Once again, something I've spoke to her about. Yes, I have made mistakes, but I experienced being made an example of. There is no excuse for my mishaps, my drink drive, whatever. But I was made an example of in terms of how grand and great they made it. That was what they were doing. I could handle it. She texted me on Friday and she said that she had to plead guilty, and I had a game. I had a game of rugby, which again is another story, a distraction. Everything is a distraction until we actually understand that love and healing and coming together is what we need to do. And I'm not trying to preach to anybody, because I am no better than the next man. I've been born into a life and I'm a bit more fortunate. I'm very fortunate because I don't look bad and I've got talent. I get that, but I've been told my whole life that that's wrong. Like, and I'm admitting that, but I've also been through a lot of pain. And I'm strong enough to carry it. I'm strong enough to share my moments of vulnerability now, but I'm just asking that we're kind. I'm asking, if you have vulnerable moments and you have people you care about close to you, share it with them. They won't criminalize or vindict or get angry with you. They'll love you more for it, I promise you. I told my teammates on Monday my story. I had teammates who I didn't even think liked me text me over the weekend the most beautiful message. It's the first time I felt love from a lot of people. But why does it take someone to die for this to be the case? And this is not me. Again, this is not my thing. This is my story I'm sharing, and you can take it any way you want. But I have to. I'm talking to a camera, I can't even look in it. But I have to. Look, the light's gone, it's not perfect, whatever. I see clearly now, and I hate the fact that it's taken someone so kind and so beautiful and had just as many faults as me and you, but never malicious. She was kind, she was loving, she was... If I play like the voice note she sent me when she was broken and she was moved on, she spent the last 20 seconds asking how I am. And how's rugby, and how's this, and and what I'm trying to say is, we all have vulnerable moments, and we all have moments of weakness. Talk. I've heard that said before 100 times, but I truly understand it now. And I'm going to finish on a story, because about 5 or 6 years ago, 3 women were assaulted on Richmond Green. And for 3 months, you didn't see a woman walk around Richmond Green on her own. But after 3 months, it kind of got back to normal, and women were walking on their own. So what I'm trying to say is, we're going to get a reaction. We're going to get lovely messages. We're going to get messages she should have felt when she was alive, right? And you don't feel bad for this. People shouldn't feel bad, because this is society right now, and she never understood it. So I'm explaining it from my point of view and hers and what we spoke about. But if I go back to the story, so we're going to get a reaction, we're going to get people being kind for a certain period, but it takes consistency in everything in life. You want to be great at something, you've got to be consistent with it. You've got to train hard, work hard, do what you've got to do. To be kind, you've got to be consistent. There's times life's going to make you want to be angry. And that is fine to feel those emotions, but do not project. Don't put on, talk, figure it out, speak. Because that's what I'm going to do, and that's what my promise is. I went to training Monday. I'm playing on Saturday, and I've been taught to do that by my mum. So when shit goes wrong, you stand up, and it's okay to feel sadness. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not going to sit home and do it on my own and hide and then eat it and I wear it and then I feel it. I have to release this for me. This is for me. This is for her. This is for young people who post pictures and feel horrible comments or whatever they might go through because they might not be strong enough to deal with it. Be consistent. If you want to be great, if you want to be Michael Jordan, he goes and shoots 3 points 1,000 million times. You hear it. You hear it about if you want to go and be an actor, you rehearse. You want to go be a businessman, you learn, you study. You want to be a good human being, you consistently have to do it. I haven't in my life because I've let my pain and anger get in the better of me. I've numbed myself over and over again. I'm not letting it happen no more. I'm not letting it happen no more. I had to say this and I miss her. I've written her messages that she's not going to read because her phone's not on. Well, it is, but she's not here. But I've had to voice things to her. And I'm going to play the message at some point, the voice note she left about 15 days ago, because people need to hear it. But right now, this is me. You can make jokes. I don't care. It ain't going to affect me. She's given me that. Because she's given me that, I'm sharing that with you. And I'm sharing it, but this is my experience and it's for me. I just want to thank everyone that's been kind to her, to me, to her boyfriend, to her family, to whoever. Continue being kind. Don't make it take this. Don't make it take for an artist to die before you buy his painting. If it's great, buy it. Consistency. It's not easy sometimes to get out of bed. That's what my mum taught me. You've got to get up and do it. Every time I've been knocked back, I get up and I do it. I've been knocked back playing a game and it felt like the hardest thing in the world to get up and play and try and do well. But every time I've played better, a game, this is life. This is life. And I haven't cried in 20 years because I bottled up everything. And I haven't stopped. I'm done. That's it. I'm finished.